Hey everybody, today is Mental Freedom Day 5. Pretty exciting here, but today I wanted to talk about something called surrendering. Surrendering and admitting you are powerless. And for me, that sounded terrible. That sounded like the opposite of what I wanted to do. Because what I've always been taught is that when you say you are powerless, or when you say a team is better than you, when you say somebody is stronger than you, you are instantly giving them physical and mental power and strength over you. Even if in actuality you are stronger. Even if you do have a chance of winning, by saying that, you are giving them the win before the game even started. And for me, that always seemed counterintuitive if the end goal is to indeed win, is to indeed overcome. But I read something the other day, and it said David did not need to know Goliath's strength because he already knew God's. And I'll explain that in a second, but taking that in comparison with this addiction, if we looked at the views counts of all the videos, the thousands, the hundreds, the millions of videos all over the web, the millions of magazines all over the world, the millions of people's lives who are affected, probably billions, both physically, mentally, the industry and its reach and power and control over so many lives, and the impact, the negative, terribly negative impact that it has. If we looked at that, and we looked at how stacked the deck was against us, holy smokes, it would not be a surprise to me if everybody who was addicted would pretty much just surrender and give up in that sense. But that's not what surrender means, guys. Surrendering is surrendering your power to Him and knowing that 100% of your power comes from Him. Because the second that you think, I got it 50-50, you get some confidence back, you're feeling pretty good, you're doing great. The second you take some of that power back, you're not just taking that power and giving it to yourself, but rather you are giving it back to the addiction. We have to admit, without a doubt, that we are not even a fraction of a fraction able to beat this. No chance. Just us by ourselves, there is no way. There's no chance you could put every habit, every blocker, everything in place, but without admitting that you can't do this by yourself, but He can, you're nothing. I'm sorry, guys. Like, our brains are wired this way. And if you've got that ingrained in your head that every time you're feeling down that your body needs lust, you're toast. So if you guys looked up the David and Goliath story, I would encourage you to look that up. It's very common, but it's a true story. It's about a young boy who kills a giant of the enemy nation that was coming to essentially level them. And they said if anybody can beat him, then they'd leave. Then they'd leave them alone. Just anybody could face him. The king, who was like 6'6", muscle, was like, no way, this guy's 8-9 feet tall and like 300-400 pounds. And his sword was bigger than most men, they said. But so yeah, nobody wanted to. And this kid who was my age or younger, he had a sling with some stones, and he actually put the king's armor on in order to go fight this guy, but the king's armor was like twice his size, and he was like, there's no way I could fight in this. And his brothers, all the warriors, the king himself, they said, don't do it. They said, you don't stand a chance. They said, you are going to be absolutely killed out there. And again, looking at the odds, 8 feet, 400 pounds, 5 feet, 120 maybe. Everybody would say no chance. This guy had a sling with some stones, a slingshot. And this other guy had a shield and a sword that was as big as the kid who was about to fight him. But you see, the addiction, or Goliath in this story, did not have what he had. He had God, and he had love. And that might sound like a Hallmark card. That might sound like something cheesy. But I'm telling you, he knew God's strength, and he knew that by himself there's no way he was going to beat this guy. And slung the stone around, threw it, hit him square in the forehead, killed him. And before going into battle, he surrendered. He surrendered to God. And coming out of battle, he was victorious. And that victory is used as an example for others who at first thought that they couldn't themselves. So with that, guys, I would just like to leave you with two things. One, surrender. Admit that you can't do this. Admit that you are powerless to this addiction. Admit that your life has become unmanageable. Because the second that I get some length of sobriety, of staying sober, and I feel like, oh, I got some of that confidence back. Yeah, I got some confidence. I got some strength. I got some attraction. Sweet. But I did not get any power over the addiction. Not a drop. Because if I try to take that power again, guys, it's going to the addiction. It's not going to me. So admit that you're powerless. And then 2, surrender to him. Don't surrender to the addiction. Don't use it as an excuse. Oh, I'm powerless. I screwed up again. Dang. Well, I'm powerless. No biggie. No. You surrender to him. You give the reins to him. And he will make your path straight. So, I would encourage you all to surrender. And start realizing the power that comes from him and not from you. So, a cop just drove by, and it would probably look pretty bad if I'm holding a phone and talking into it while driving. Who in the world would do that? So, stay strong out there, everybody. Go crush your day. It is a great day to overcome. Peace.